right, humans, we're going to be working with the negative rule in this video. So the steps we're going to follow is to make sure that whatever you're working with is set up as a fraction. And then we move anything with a negative exponent. Okay, so I need to have a tiny number that's negative. If anything else is negative, it doesn't matter. We're going to move that to the opposite side. All right, looking at example 1, we're going to look for anything with a negative exponent. So the only negative exponents I see are with y and with g. So that means those are the two pieces that we're going to move. When I set up my fraction, I want to keep everything else exactly the same. So the 3, it did not have a negative exponent, so it's staying. The x to the power of 4 stays. My y to the power of -2, this was an issue, so to make it positive, we're just going to bring it down to the bottom, and now that is positive. And if we look at the denominator, we have 4. This g to the power of -8, we want to make that positive, so we're going to bring that to the top, and now it's positive. And then we have h to the power of 5. So anytime we try and make a negative exponent positive, we do so by just putting it in the opposite spot. If it's on the top, we bring it to the bottom, and then likewise bottom, bring it to the top. All right, looking at example 2, I am again going to hunt for negative exponents. Okay, I do see that -3 is negative, but it's not an exponent. So the only ones I actually want to care about here are a and d. So setting up my fraction, I'm going to go through these left to right. So at the top, I have -3. That did not have a negative exponent, so I keep it. A to the -4. That had a negative exponent, so I'm going to flip it down to the bottom, and I'm going to write a to the +4. For b does not have a negative exponent, so I'm going to keep it where it's at. Looking at the bottom, 2 has a positive exponent, so I'm going to keep it. C has a +1 exponent, so I'm going to keep it. D had a negative exponent, so I'm going to bring that to the top and make it a +10. So right here, my a moved to the bottom to be positive, and d moved to the top to be positive. Looking at example 3, I can see that a to the -7th power, that one is negative, so I need to bring it to the top for it to be positive. So when I do that, if I'm thinking about my fraction, I have the 1 on top, and now we're bringing a to the -7 on top. So that means nothing is at the bottom, or you could think about it as it being invisible 1. But if I were to simplify this, anything over the power of 1 is just itself. So I would have a to the -7th power. I don't need to have that 1 in front. That would just be my final answer here. And looking at example 4, I can see that I have a -8 on top, so I know that needs to move, but I don't see my fraction here. So when that happens, you want to create your fraction, and to make anything into a fraction, kind of like in that last example, we always put 1 at the bottom, and now I can move it down. So I can bring x to the -8 to the bottom, so now it'll be a +8, which means 1 is on top, and that would be my final answer here, 1 over x to the power of 8.